we're back. I like how the heat comes on as soon as I start recording a video, so I can't ever win. So we're back at it again with another video today, and this time, you guys, I've been busy. So long story short, Jazza, which is an artist on YouTube, he had proposed a challenge of PowerPoint Animator, hashtag PowerPoint Animator, where pretty much you use Microsoft PowerPoint to make an animation. And boy, it's not time consuming. I knew it was gonna be time consuming and I was prepared for that, but what I wasn't prepared for was trying to come up with a concept that I could make within PowerPoint, if that makes sense. PowerPoint has the ability of where you can draw on the slides itself, but it can only take you but so far, and there's not like any type of coloring you could really do in it successfully or very well type thing, so it pretty much had to just be strictly line work and stuff like that. And in his challenge, he said that you can make your own background and stuff like that, so I did do that as well to at least help with the black and white nature of it, but yeah. So it took me a really long time to figure out what kind of animation I want to do and stuff like that. A lot of trial and error, okay, because I never animated anything in PowerPoint before. So it was a lot. It was very tricky. And yeah, so we're gonna go over today what I did. So yeah. Okay, so here we are in Microsoft PowerPoint. Now this is one of the first that I did when I was like, after I did my little test and see how exactly that this would work. This is the first thing I started doing, and I did not have a plan. I did not plan this out at all. I literally just drew this light switch and like hoped for the best after that. Like I had no idea what this light switch was about to do, but I drew a light switch. For some reason, I wanted this light switch to have tentacles coming out of it, and then the tentacles would come down, keep going down, and the tentacle would eventually flip the light switch, and then the screen turns white because it turned the light on or something like that. Like that was my thinking process that I went into it. Originally when I was doing it, I was overthinking this, as one tends to do. As the tentacle was coming out of the light switch, I started drawing like cracks, like as if it was like breaking the wall as the tentacle was coming through. And then as I started playing the animation through, like the cracks were just like not consistent enough and were kind of just popping around all over the place. So I was like, yeah, maybe doing cracks on it is just not correct. And so I took the cracks off and stuff like that. And let me show you here that there's actually is an animations tab here in PowerPoint where you can like select something like that. And then there's all these options that you have up here, like duration and delay and start and stuff. But I didn't use that because I don't know. I don't know too much of that, so I just stuck right here with the draw pencil. I think it's actually a pen. Yeah, it's a pen tool, the eraser tool, and then the selection here. And those are pretty much three things that I used to make this entire thing. So yeah, so pretty much I drew this light switch first, and then I copied the light switch pretty much on each slide. Like I duplicated each slide of the light switch. So right click and went to duplicate, and I just made like a bunch of them. And then I went through each slide, added the tentacles who was coming out further and even further until eventually it would reach the switch and stuff like that. So let me go down, clicking with the arrow keys right now. So over here, when it's like about to reach the light switch, and then it smacks it, and then the screen turns white. And then after I got to this point, I was like, well, what the heck am I supposed to do with this now? So then I was like, okay, maybe there's another tentacle, I don't know. And then this is a bunch of spare frames of the light switch that I have left over, but I just did not know what to do with that. Like there was so much back and forth. It's like, obviously this isn't PowerPoint. Like this was not going to be something polished, just to show something that you can animate in PowerPoint. And I was like, okay, just kept reminding myself to not overthink it, don't overthink it, just don't. And yeah, it was just like so difficult. And then like I played out the animation, and it was okay, I guess. It was alright. I had to get the timing right. If you go to transitions, I think it was, yeah. I went to transitions and I made all the slides transition after, is that 5 seconds, I believe, to make it as smooth as possible. Originally it was on 10, but 10 was still made it look like it was jumpy, so I switched it to 5 seconds. So here is what it looked like. It's gonna play. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And then the rest of this right here is playing at 10 seconds. It was like very jumpy, so I switched everything to 5. And the beginning part was fine, like it flipped the switch, like but I didn't really like it. It was kind of boring. It wasn't interesting enough to me, and I was like, I could tweak this for days or just try to start something new. So I tried to do a different animation where I was gonna make a hole, and the hole was kind of like at like a 3/4 view, and I wanted the hole to come up so it's like you're facing on top of it and there's like a monster that comes out of it. But that was so ambitious, like I couldn't, like once I started like stretching the hole so it would like get bigger, like it was just got way too complicated, way too quick, and it came out really bad. And I filmed that process with OBS, but for some reason OBS was tripping, so it didn't even come out anyway. I already started making it, and it was just way too complicated, way too quick. So like I abandoned that, and then I tried something else. So moving on to my final and third animation that I did for this challenge was that I started with this right here, this eyeball. And I drew it just like that using the pen tool, and yeah, it just looked exactly like this. And I was not sure exactly where I was taking this. I just knew that I wanted to animate it where the eye was opening and take it from there. So I started out with this base, and then I copied this slide a bunch of times, of course, and then I moved on to slowly opening it. And then I did this background, but I did this background last, but I started slowly opening eye. So like with these two lines obviously represent both upper lid and lower lid, and like each slide I would redraw this line every time, going up a little further and going down a little further. Tedious work, but yeah, so I would also move up this one and move it down. So I would just redraw this line each time, every time the slide would progress. This slide I stopped here because I was like, I don't know exactly where I'm taking this. I don't know if I want the eyelid to open all the way, because then what am I going to do with that? So then I took the eyeball and I moved it. Well, I decided that the eyeball was going to move across the eye. Originally it was going to move all the way across, but I made it stop in the center. So if I go back up, you can see here that the actual pupil is like sliding across very slowly. So yeah, so then I could just, after I made the eyelid open as far as it could, I just continued the pupil to move, and then I stopped it here on slide number 12. And then I was like, okay, what the heck am I going to do after this point? I don't know. I really wanted to do something that involved like maybe veins coming out, but as I learned from the first attempt that drawing something with a bunch of squiggly lines is not possible to do, because duplicating the slide each time, like it's not easy to like manipulate stuff in here as you would like with on something like Photoshop. You can animate or something like that. Like there's no onion layers here. Like it's much more difficult to do like middle detail type stuff. So I stopped the eye in the center, and I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna have a bunch of eyeballs that just come into this like one eye, you know what I mean? So I started drawing another pupil right here, and then the pupil is just moving across the eye like here, and then it's gonna have another one come out on the other side, but I just kept going with this single pupil right here, and then it keeps going, and then worlds collide over here. So then I wanted them to join, and yeah, this took like a lot of work, because like each stroke you do, it counts as like a new part. Like it doesn't continue to be like a solid form, if that makes sense. So like I had to move each individual piece, like each individual stroke I literally had to move. Very annoying. Can I show you? Like yeah, like here's like one stroke that's like coloring in, and then there's like the outer stroke of that. Like it was so annoying. But it's like I was making it work though. So yeah, so then the eyeball just continues to come across the screen, and then I made it get bigger just a little bit, and then here I was like, what the heck am I gonna do now? I was like, okay, we're just gonna move this pupil back across the eyeball. So then there we go. And then for some reason I was like, okay, maybe there's something like eclipsing the eye or something like that. So then I started drawing a white circle here, which, you know, of course takes a million strokes, and I'm like, okay, so stroke by stroke it's cutting it off. And then I was like, you know what, I just made a crescent moon shape. And at the time I was doing this, it was like maybe like 11 p.m. and I was flipping tired. So it was at this crescent moon shape, and I was like, you know what? I should make the eye close, like as if it's going to sleep now, because like it's a moon, it's nighttime, big brain, you know what I mean? So I made the eye slowly close. And for this, let me show you. Of course, like I said, everything is strokes, so I'm clicking on it, and you know, all those are strokes. And with PowerPoint, like each time I would move this line down, like, you know, it's not a solid color, I'm just moving the line. So every time the moon would get covered here, like the tip of the moon, I just had to color over with the white pen to disguise it. So annoying. So each one is like, just kind of color it in, cover it, because I couldn't erase it, because erasing it will just erase the entire line. Like you can't erase parts of the line with the eraser tool here in PowerPoint. So pretty much that's how I did it. Repeated the step of like redrawing each line, covering the moon with the white pencil, and then the eye closes, and then that's where we are. So then after I made it that far, keep in mind that the whole thing is still just white with black lines. So I took a screenshot of this and I put it into Photoshop so the dimensions will be the same, and then I just like did this light airbrushing for the background where I just drew the eyebrows, and then like shadow for the nose and bags under the eyes. And then I had to put that image back into here, and I had to set it as the background, and I think I did that by, no, I did not go to slideshow. I think it's design, isn't it? Yeah, I went to design, and then I went to format background, and then I did picture a texture fill. Now, I don't know like exactly how like well this would have worked. I don't know, but like for some reason the picture wasn't perfect. Like you can see here it's slightly off, like it's slightly skewed to the left. Like you can see a little bit of the whiteness behind it, because how I did it with Photoshop is like I selected everything around the eye and I made that the part that I can only color in, so that part where the eye was covering was just blank space, so it's pretty much just white underneath there, which I guess I shouldn't have made it. But yeah, I couldn't make it solid, because if I made the whole thing the solid pink fleshy color, then the whole entire eye would be the same color, and that's not what I want here. I want the eye to be white, and then everything else around would be this fleshy pinky reddy color. So it was a lot of little things that I had to go figure out. But after I finished painting it in Photoshop and I put it in here, then the sizing wasn't right, and I was like, this, I can't sit here all day and figure this out. And here, like right here, as you can see, it might be cut off, I don't know. You can like offset a little bit, so I used this so you can see that the top is offset by -1%, and that helped a lot. But that left this tiny little sliver in. Like I wasn't gonna go back and go tweak it again. I was like, this is good enough, so I just left it just like that. And then yeah, I remember in Jazz's videos I had to add sound effects onto his animation, so I was like, okay, let me do the same thing. So I went to YouTube and I found a slimy sound effect, and I put that in here. And you know, the audio version came out fine, but it was difficult because I guess like the sound effect that I chose, like the video itself has an intro to it, so like there was like some seconds delay, and I kept forgetting that this animation is only but like 3 seconds, so I had to get the timing right with that. But lucky enough, in here you can trim the audio. So I was like, okay, great. So I trimmed the audio to where I needed it to be, so you can just hear the sliminess of it. I don't know why I chose a slimy, but I just figured that since it was an eyeball, I guess a slimy sound effect would be appropriate. So I just chose the slimy. It's very gross sounding, okay? I'm gonna just let you know. So here is the final animation. I didn't know this with PowerPoint. Well, I guess I should have known, but like you could take your slides and save it as a video or as a GIF. And I was like, okay, that's pretty neat. So I just saved it as a video and stuff like that. So this is how it came out. "3 seconds, and it took 2.5 hours of my entire life." But that was part of the challenge, and I did it. It took me 43 slides to get this whole thing together. I think this is my first time actually animating something. I always wanted to animate something, and I really wanted to go to school for animation, but my school unfortunately did not have animating when I was attending. I don't know if they have it now, but I know they didn't have it before. So I feel like I missed the boat, but I mean, this was some good fun practicing of somewhat of like what animation is like, and like, you know, like you start off with basic animation with look something like this, I would imagine. So like I'm not mad at this entire experience. Like it really shows like just how tedious something like this is. And I remember going into this challenge thinking that I wanted to draw a character, and the character was either going to be like mouthing something or just like looking at something, moving. But now doing this and thinking about how impossible that would have been, especially to do in freaking PowerPoint, I'm glad I didn't do. But like, I'm not mad about how this turned out. When I was looking at the hashtag on Twitter, there's actually a lot of interesting things people did. Like looking on Twitter at like all the other things that people have done, it's like amazing. Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't think about doing something like that. That's pretty neat. I'm kind of glad I actually did not look at the hashtag before I started doing mine, because I would have been like, I probably would not have done it, to be honest. Like, see, this right here, this is drawn. But, did you put the images into PowerPoint and have them put together as an animation? Like, does that count? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are, but I did it, and I'm part of the collective now, so there you go. Oh my god, look how linty my hat is. Oh, I wear this hat all the time. This hat is part of me now. But yeah, that was my little animation that I did. I'm proud of it. It's cute. Or maybe gross, depending on how you look at it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like. That was a lot of effort that I put into that, and I even missed an upload day because I was like trying to like get this done. Like, you have no idea. Like, I really want to get this done, and I'm glad I did it. Like, this goes to show, like, if there's something that you want to do but you're just like not sure about it, or you're just procrastinating, or you feel like you're not good enough to do it, just do it. Just do it. That's all I can say to you. Like, I don't regret the time that took. Like, I know it's a competition and it's like to win something, but like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, this is experience that I have under my belt now. I'm not saying I'm a professional animator, but like, this is something like I've always had interest in animating, and like, I'm glad I had some type of experience doing animations, and now I know I can do it in Photoshop. So if I ever really want to animate something, I can go to Photoshop to do it. So yeah, so if you guys like this video, please leave a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel because there's more content coming. I upload once a week, either Friday or a Saturday. And yeah, so we have some more content coming. I actually have to do an unboxing video, if you know what I mean. Also, you like my hoodie? It says get to steppin', you know? Anybody watch Martin back in the day? Or still watch Martin now? Shoot, you know? So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.